Welcome to the Happiness and Success After Illinois Tech podcast with the Illinois Tech alumni. We're so happy you're here, and we can't wait for you to be inspired from all these real-life stories of people that attended Illinois Tech, graduated, and found success. No matter your major, your background, or where you're from, success and happiness are possible, and here are the stories to prove it. Welcome to this episode, everyone. My guest this week is Parker Joncus, and Parker is, of course, an Illinois Tech alumni, which is why we're talking to him. So tell us when you graduated and what your degree was in, Parker. Welcome.
I graduated in 2019, and I got a bachelor's in applied mathematics and a master's in data science. I did the co-term program.
Co-term, that seems very popular.
Yeah.
So when you got to Illinois Tech, I know you played basketball. When you got there, did you know what you wanted to study right away? Did it change, or after you graduated, did it change? Tell us about that.
It definitely changed when I first got there. So when I even visited the school, like in high school and stuff, I knew I loved math, and that's why I did applied math bachelor's. And I talked to a professor, and they said, do math, don't pick an engineering just yet if you don't know, because math will kind of teach you the general stuff you need to know, and then you can figure out what you want to do and change later. So when I first got there, I was doing math, and I took some intro to computer science classes, and that's what first got me into the coding side of things. And then I took some classes that went into data analysis and data science, and I fell in love with it. And then I realized there's a co-term program for it. So I was like, that's what I want to do.
I'm glad you said fell in love with it, because I think that's an important concept that not all students necessarily get. It's like, and the same thing happened to me. Someone tells you you're good at something, like you're really good at math, right? I'll start with math. But if you weren't in love with it, and then you went to go get a lifetime career in it, and you don't love it, eventually you're not going to be very happy.
Right.
But you fell in love with something and decided to switch your major, which is so important, because just because you're good at something doesn't mean you love it. You can be good at it and love it, or vice versa, love it and not be good at it. But the key is both, to be good at it and to love it. Because then you want to keep learning about it, right? You want to keep exploring it, and then you're also motivated to keep on that track and finish the degree, right?
Right. Especially growing up, I always loved math. It just clicked for me. And everyone's like, well, what are you going to do with math? You're going to be a professor? That's all you can do. And my parents were like, oh, you can do engineering. There's actually a lot, math is the base of almost everything with engineering or even coding. And it's not necessarily math specifically, but it's just those problem solving skills, and just the combination of coding and the problem solving with code is really fun for me.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad you found something that you're really excited about, because I get that question a lot from students, like, okay, this is my degree, what can I go do with it? I'm like, let's explore, because there's not just, and they hear from their parents or friends, extended family, well, you can only do this. First of all, that's not true. There's lots to do. But yeah, everyone gets stuck in their mind, and especially for us older people, we heard that you could only do this. It's like things have changed so much. Let's explore how you can use it and what you can combine with what you love, and your degree, because there's so many opportunities that people aren't necessarily thinking about off the top of their heads that can be beneficial, number one, to a company, and then to your own career path. But you have to be willing and open to explore. Would you agree?
And everything changes, even post-working, now I'm working, things change, and you work on different things. So maybe you fall in love with something new and you go down a different path at a certain company, or you end up trying to go somewhere else because you're looking for something different. So
yes, totally a great point too. But things do continually change for the rest of your career. I promise you, things are going to keep changing. And the more you can be agile and flexible with everything that's happening, the better off you're going to be in your career. Just expect them to change. Love what you're doing when you're doing it. Expect them to change, and then figure out what you want to do next.
Exactly.
Okay, so I know personally, because I just remember that you got your job way before you graduated, which is awesome. And I know some students now are in that position, and some are graduating and they still don't have anything a month later, and they're unsettled about it. I'm like, a month is nothing, or 2 months is nothing. There are people getting it before they graduate, but still, usually they have them within a couple of months after graduation. Right. What did you do to get your internships, or what avenues did you use? How were you successful with that? You had an internship, right?
I did not actually. So
Oh,
that's like this is like the big question that every college student wants to know because they want
yeah.
to know like that secret to get a job or an internship,
Mhm.
right? And there really is no secret, unfortunately. Like everyone has a different path to a job. So like my wife now, we were dating in college and she had internships every summer, whereas I would always try to apply for internships and I could never get one. And it
Okay.
was very frustrating, right? Because
Yeah.
once you get one internship, it's easier to get another because you have
Right.
that experience. But sometimes they're looking for that experience. And so people that don't have internships, it's tougher sometimes. And so what I ended up doing is in order to replace that, I usually did research on campus with math or computer science professors. So
Mm.
that I was doing something uh, to kind of grow my knowledge as well as put on my resume. And a lot of times they also have these stipends, so it's even paid research. So it's not like I was
Smart.
doing nothing. And even
Yeah.
if you can't get like a research opportunity, even just finding your own project to do on your own is very helpful. Like, especially when I was doing coding, I ended up creating my own website to show off my portfolio, some of the things I've done.
Mhm.
And companies definitely see that and see that you're more passionate about it. And it's definitely a big plus.
And you're
Um,
thinking out of the box instead of saying, well, I just couldn't get one. Now I'm not doing anything. You're saying, all right, well, what else can you do to hone your skills, to increase your knowledge, and to prove, like you said, that you know what you say you know, with a personal project or with something with research on campus. A great piece of advice. And I know students who are doing it, but I know some that just hadn't considered that. Oh, I can
right,
just do something on my own. Yeah, that's experience. You're applying what you know, and that's what ultimately, that's what companies want to see. They want to know that you can take everything you learned and help them solve a problem or apply what you know, right?
right.
Okay, so how about your job? How did you get your job?
So my first job out of college, I worked up at Epic Systems. They actually reached out to me. So obviously senior year, I'm applying to like everything. Again, my wife, she got an offer like early December at a company she already interned at. So I'm like trying to rush, like I need something. But this company, Epic, they actually reached out to me first. And I've actually had the most luck when people reach out to me first. Like sometimes you'll apply and you just will never hear from that company, which can be even more frustrating. Like obviously you get an email sometimes, it's like, we're going with someone else. But most of the time they just ignore you,
Yeah,
which,
that is most common.
um, but yeah, this job, they reached out to me and I just went through this process and got an offer. Um, it's like I said before, it's different for everyone. Like some people take longer, and it's just different.
It's just, I know, that's the thing. It's like there is no, you said it in the beginning, there is no like secret, there's no one thing to do. There's just trying
Right,
these other things. And I always tell students, you're building momentum. So
right,
even if, like you said, you're applying to all these places because your wife got a job, so you're like, okay, I'm hurry up and I'm gonna apply. So you were doing the work and then someone came to you. That's not an
right,
accident. If you had been doing nothing, it's very unlikely that you still would have been approached. You were
exactly.
building momentum, you were putting it out there and saying, okay, I'm open, I'm willing to do this. And then you got noticed. That's why I tell students, I'm like, it's going to come from one way or the other. It's going to come from usually an unexpected direction, which is even the job that I have now. But the bottom line is you have to put in the effort
Right,
to make it happen. You can't just sit back and just, all right, have people coming to you.
right,
But I will say at Illinois Tech, it's definitely the group of students that graduate from there, just the reputation we have is so good that is, people are seeking them, which is a really nice place to be. Because that's not necessarily the case everywhere else. It's like
right,
they're companies that love Illinois Tech students. Yeah.
right. Another
Okay.
big thing you hear
Yeah.
a lot too is like you want to like network, right? And that means a lot of different things to different people.
Yeah.
So my new company now, I'm working at Simplify Healthcare in Aurora. And again, they reached out to me first, but I don't think I networked with them. It was just kind of an indirect network where someone reached out to me and they said they got my resume from someone else that they knew. Um, and maybe it was some recruiter that I messaged. Because even now, I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn for different jobs, and it's easy to ignore them, but sometimes it's better to just be like, hey, like I'm not looking right now, but if I do, I'll let you know, just so you don't
Yes.
break those connections.
Smart. It's smart to keep, yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
And keep them going. And, you could be somewhere, you could be here for 5 more years, or that person that's reaching out to you could go to a different company, and then they want to promote you to a different, even higher place than you are now. So you just never know. So yes, keep them going. I tell the students the same thing. I keep connected with people, and just reach out once in a while. Oh, not only when you need something, but just in general. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So now that you're the job that you're doing with the data science master's you got, is it what you you didn't change now that you're in it, like you love it and you want to stay in this realm?
Yeah, so actually the first job at Epic, it wasn't data science related, it was just software development. And then when I moved to Simplify, that at first was just software development. I only just now started doing data science, and that's, I mean, it's 4 years now about. So I was always planning on trying to get into data science. But data science specifically, when looking for jobs, it's so new that they're looking for people with like 8 years experience all the time.
Yeah.
There's never anything that's like, I have this much experience. And it doesn't hurt to apply for those, right? If they don't think you're qualified, they just will ignore you.
Right.
Looking for someone else. But sometimes, like what I did is I came to a company that I started off software development, and they don't have data science yet. And I made it pretty clear to my boss early on that that's something I wanted to get into. So now that I have a couple of years under my belt, I know the software pretty well. We're at a time where I can actually lead this data science push and create this new stuff, which is pretty exciting.
Awesome. That is exciting. It's smart. It's smart of your boss to say, okay, like when we have this opportunity now, you said you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Very smart, because otherwise you could say, okay, and then eventually you start looking to do it somewhere else if you can't do it where you want to do it. So that's great news. Yeah. Okay. So anything you wish you'd learned sooner, considering your education at Illinois Tech, or the initial part of your career?
I mean, there's a lot, like in industry work, it's a lot different than college, right? So I always say, like, you go to college to learn how to learn, right? Because every company does things differently. Especially software. There's so many languages out there. There's so many third-party tools that people use, where you'll go to a company and you'll feel like you don't know anything. Because college kind of teaches you how to code, and anyone can you could even learn how to code online, right?
Yeah.
But you need the skill to be able to learn quickly. I think the biggest example is like version control with code. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, or even bug fixes. So you'll get like a bug and you'll be like, I don't know what this is or how to fix it. I'm not, like at Epic, the code's so big, you can't just go line by line looking for the bug. You have to jump in, try to reproduce it, understand what's supposed to happen and what is happening, the business side of things, and then kind of narrow down from there. That's a big mistake I've seen some developers do, is they just try to jump straight into the code, because that's what you learn at college.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that in practical industry.
Smart. You have to look at the bigger picture. Like you said, it's going to be different from one company and one kind of software to the next, but you're taking what you learned and how you solve those problems and came up with resolutions and just even in general, being resourceful. Like, okay, this is the problem. How do I fix it? You can talk to other people, all those things. You learn all of those skills when you get into the corporate world, into the job. And the other stuff is the technical. So I tell the students all the time, like, you got everything you need skills wise. Now you got to prove all of those other traits you have that can help them on their team, with their clients, whatever it ends up being. That's what you have to talk to, because everyone else is created equal when they graduate with that degree from this college or that college, right? It's what else do you have? What else do you have? How, so they say, how come they always want to ask these behavioral questions? And I'm like, because they want to see if you're a fit. They want to see if you're going to fit in with the culture, with the team, with their values, all of that. Like, that's the important stuff. That's why you're going to stay there. If you're not a fit, it's not going to work. And it's hard to grasp that when you're just in it, like you said, doing all the learning and making sure you know everything you're supposed to know and taking the tests and finishing the classes. This is all the other stuff. And this is why you went to school, so you could go work at a company and start making some money. Yeah.
Especially like working too. sometimes like there's no one right answer, right? Like in college, you take a test, there's one right answer, right? But when you have a problem, especially like a coding problem, you could be like, okay, well, we could go this way, or we could go route B. Route A has these benefits and these problems. Route B has these other benefits and these other problems. And it's not always clear what the best way forward is. So like, it's a lot different. Like college almost seems unnecessary in some ways, but it's very helpful at the same time. Like this industry is just so much different, and you're going to learn a lot more really quickly.
Yeah, it's good. That's good to know. Okay, so best advice you can offer college students looking for their first job, or looking to change their career path, or just figure out what they want to do when they graduate. What did you learn, or what do you know now?
That's another tough question, because everyone wants like the one answer, but there's not really a great answer. I would say just don't stress too much. Something will come eventually. You'll get a job. Everyone does. Especially when I was looking, like, again, my girlfriend at the time, now wife, she was way ahead of me, and everyone's different. And so it's hard not to stress out, but it'll just come. And even if it's not the perfect job, you have plenty of time to get there.
Yes, I love that. You do have plenty of time. And there's always another company. There's so much opportunity out there. Getting this degree from Illinois Tech is like the one of the best things you can do. Right. And there's always another. They get so stressed about the students making the right decision and picking the right company and the right job and all that. Right. And you could pick it and it could be perfect for you, and something could happen with the company, or vice versa. You could pick it and it's wrong for you, but guess what? Then you can go to another company. So it's not for the rest of your life.
Correct.
It will happen. You'll pick something and you could be wrong, and that's okay, because you can learn from that too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It was really nice to get to talk to you and hear a little bit more about your experience. There's a lot I didn't know, so I appreciate it. Yeah, and I know the students are going to learn from you. Is there if people want to get in touch with you or stay connected, what's the best way to do that?
I'm on LinkedIn, Parker Joncus. I also have my email, parkerj@me.com is probably the best one. I think I'm locked out of my Hawk one because I did some weird data.
Oh, okay.
I don't even figure it out, but
yeah, good to know.
That's right for email. Yeah.
Well, thank you. It was great talking to you. And I know there's always going to be someone out there that gets something they needed to hear today to help them. So that's why we're doing this, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, hope it helps.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Check out the Illinois Tech Connect platform. It's the official networking site for Illinois Tech alumni. It's operated by Illinois Institute of Technology Alumni Association with help from Career Services. The aim of the platform is to connect our entire alumni community to provide a space for communication, networking, and other opportunities. Also, join the Illinois Tech Career Services group on LinkedIn and learn about all things career-related. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Finally, as an alum, whenever you need career guidance or advice, you're always welcome to connect to the Career Services Department, make an appointment with a career coach, and take advantage of this lifelong resource available to all alumni. We can't wait to help you, and more importantly, we can't wait to see what you do.